So welcome to the very first RS podcast.
The first one. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's a good start, isn't it?
So we thought it was probably an idea in this new podcasting forum to introduce ourselves, really, explain a little bit about what we're about, what we do, why we do it, and I think that's pretty much it, isn't it, really?
Well, I'm surprised we've not done this before because podcasts have been around for quite a while now. So, yeah.
Well, we've been a
bit busy.
We've been around now for, what, 12 years? More than 12 years.
13.
And
13.
Obviously, in all that time, we've been on social media and we've had people following us there. And we've been on YouTube, I think, for about 4 years or something. So do check us out on there if you haven't already. But the way YouTube works, really, it's kind of short and snappy, isn't it? And it's good. YouTube is good for what we do because it's very visual. But we tend to drone on, and YouTube doesn't like that. And I think we need a bit more time to pick apart some of the things that we're doing and explain it a little bit more. And that lends itself to the old podcast. So here we are.
Bit of a rant and a rave then. I mean, less rave.
We are replica prop makers.
Oh, right, yeah.
Based out of Manchester. We make, what can we say, very, very accurate, highly accurate. We aim to make highly accurate replica stormtroopers. That's RS, replica stormtroopers.
Not Robin Sire like I've always thought it was.
It fits into many holes.
Well, I suppose as well, because it's like one of the things about RS is as well is the fact how we came up with the name. Because to me, it was always RS was, like your RS Cosworth or your Rally Sport, which was your top end, and which is what we always try and aim for. Mm-hmm. And that to me was a mark of quality. It was also our names, and it's also the last two letters of Star Wars, so it works on so many levels for me. So,
and it's always, and it's also replica stormtrooper,
as well,
which is pretty much what we founded the whole insane project as.
Yeah.
Which was due to
your suit. Well, yeah. Down to me uncle having the original suit and him passing it on to me after having a clear out of his loft. So thank you, Uncle David.
So that was, 13 years ago that we started this. Yeah. I know you had it in your possession for many years before then.
Yeah. Well,
there is a photograph of you wearing the suit.
There is, yes.
And you've not got it on correctly. All the I think the thighs, from memory, the thighs are all in the wrong place, and you're obviously way too small.
Yeah.
Even for a stormtrooper back then, because you were that much younger.
Well, I think I had a pair of jogging bottoms, a black jogging bottoms, and a black sweatshirt underneath it. Now, any of the guys out there that wear our stormtrooper or any other stormtrooper, it's generally a tight fitting leotard or leggings and a top. I could fill it out with a tracksuit that I had on underneath in those particular photos, and that was, I think, I was around about, must have been about 10, something like that. So I must have been 84, 5, 6, somewhere around there. But those were taken in my nana's garden. And I literally walked from my Uncle David's house where I put it on to my nana's. So that was my first troop I suppose, back then. Which was odd because I was walking down the street and just in this, and there's people coming because they're very nosy around where my nan lived, and the people go like, well, they went to a lot of curtain twitches around there. So yeah, that was my first troop, I suppose, or my first experience of trooping.
So, going back 13 years, where does that take us to? About 2010?
Yes.
Yeah, about 2010. So, you go on the then brand new internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Fair. Yeah, I suppose. But it was brand new to me at the time. Certainly forums and stuff like that. Because at the time I'd bought a classic car and I was on forums there trying to find parts and stuff like that. And then when I had my own place, I was thinking, oh, you know what? I should dig that Stormtrooper out and put it on display in the house. And that's when I started looking at forums to sort of looking at restoring it. And I even back then, I remember being paranoid about sort of Lucasfilm hunting me down and going, we need to take this off of you, sort of thing. And that's why I didn't go straight onto the 501st and talk to anyone on there. I went to one of the smaller, exactly,
low key.
Yeah. So
under the radar.
Exactly. So I went into one of the smaller groups, which was
the way we work, under the radar.
That's it, yeah. Called Galactic Nights. And I posted some pictures up on there. And then I think Cat Food Rob.
Oh, yeah.
Had posted some...
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Had posted some pictures on the RPF. And from there, it just went mental. I was getting emails left, right, and centre. I sort of knew what I had, and I knew it was original. I knew it was tatty.
Well, you knew what you had, but you didn't. I think from the community's point of view, I don't think you quite understood the significance because at that point, and we're talking 12 years ago.
No, we're talking. It's probably.
It's probably a bit more, but 12.
Yeah.
12 years ago when we first made the suit, right up until that point, there was no A&H lineage Stormtrooper armor available.
No.
We had fan-made FX suits.
Yeah.
We had some lineage ones which come from a Mark II suit that was used for promotional work and then ended up in Australia. And then molds were made from that and then more molds. And we're going to do a whole in-depth video on the history of the replica Stormtroopers in the not too distant future. I've said it now, so we're going to have to follow up on it.
Yeah.
But the significance of your suit was everybody wanted A&H.
Yeah.
Because it's the best looking suit. And people had tried to modify other suits or just started from scratch and built a suit that they thought was like a Stormtrooper. And that eBay was full of them at the time. I remember it was absolutely full of them. And I used to look at them all the time thinking, I want one of these, I want one of these. And not even seeing all of the details and how bad they were because the internet was telling you this is a Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you think, yeah, that's a Stormtrooper. If you actually put it next to a picture, my God, you're going to see the difference. But this was years ago.
But I also remember going to the first Collectormania at GMX in Manchester, and Shepperton had a stand there.
Ooh, yes.
And I spoke to a guy on the stand. I said, I have an original suit. And we know what this is because people have done it to us and said, I've got original stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it's not.
It's got to be original. It says Lucasfilm in the back of it.
Yeah, yeah. So we've had stuff like that in the past. And you know, on occasion we have gone, yeah, yeah. And this guy had done the same thing to me. He was like, yeah, of course you have. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and anyone would do.
Yeah, well, yeah. But he wouldn't give me the time of day, so it was like, well, screw you, I'm going to do this myself.
So they are one of the people that were creating a suit off the original molds, which was one that's been derived from the Mark II tour suit.
Yeah,
That was one of the companies.
yeah,
So yeah, interesting stuff. So we knew that we had something, or that I knew that you had something very special.
Oh no. There was someone told you,
No,
and you went. It was like,
yeah.
no, he's just a nutter.
After it was established that you weren't a nutter,
Okay,
because
yeah.
in the back of it says Lucasfilm Limited, so it's got to be original.
Yeah.
When we get past that, then it's like, well, everybody in the community wants this.
Yeah.
That's what everybody wanted. You could get all these other suits which were as close as you could get, but they weren't the real deal. And this was the real deal, and that was the exciting thing. And that was, I think, maybe the only part that you probably wouldn't have been on the outside of the community then, wouldn't have fully have appreciated, I think. So it was a huge milestone for anybody who's into Stormtroopers. This was just huge. So yeah, it was interesting times. And it's funny though, because even though I knew that this had the potential to be huge, we were still very very reserved.
Well, at the time,
from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, the space that we were looking at, and the studio space and the machinery and the tools and stuff, we were still very unsure about how it was going to work and if we could pull it off.
But even before that, I was having people saying, "Oh well, if you send me it, I can restore it for you," or and I'd be like, "You're kidding, aren't you? This is not going out on my site." So it means if I want to get this restored, or you're going to offering to restore it for me, then I've basically got to be at yours the whole time. And they're like, "Oh well, no, we wouldn't be able to do that," stuff like that. So, and then when we first started corresponding, and it was a case of, and I said to you, said, "Well, show me what you do." And at the time, you were making Boba Fett jetpacks and other pieces and weapons and so on, and that intrigued me. And then you obviously only being in Stockport, and then that first visit to the mill. Now, for me, that was just walking up them stairs, being able to smell the oil paint and stuff like that, being the artist that I've always been. That to me was the thing that this is right. This to me is what I want to be doing. Because at the time I was, there was a change in government, and they were starting offering people voluntary redundancy and stuff like that. And I had a one-to-one meeting with my boss at the time, and he basically laughed in my face. But yeah, I mean, to me it was, and then again, this space that we're in now was probably not much bigger or smaller than the space that you had in the mill.
Oh yeah, well, it's bigger than that. That was tiny, wasn't it? And
yeah.
And we went and bought vac forming.
Oh God, yeah.
Vac forming machine.
I wish we still had pictures of that.
And we've been trying. I mean, through people I knew, we got a contact with a vac form. I tried vac forming some helmets. Obviously, that isn't going to work because of the complexities, and it's not a traditional vac forming job. Even though it is a vac forming process, it's you've got to spend time with the piece. It's not the kind of thing that a vac forming company would usually entertain.
No,
because it's, let's be honest, an absolute pain in the arse to do. And as we found out, the art of vac forming is like magic itself anyway.
Very much so.
So yeah, we've managed to drag a vac forming machine, which was twice the size we were expecting. Just about managed to get it on the pickup truck. Drove it back very dangerously. Couldn't even get it off.
No.
And these were this. Oh, it was just crazy, wasn't it? Really.
Well, it's trying to get it in that lift as well, and then getting it across that gallery floor. That was
scratched all, and then we were like, this ain't gonna fly.
No.
So that introduced us to our first little studio space, which had a lot of character.
Yeah.
Bad toilets. And a host of other issues.
Yeah.
Being on the first floor was one of the issues, but there were plenty others as well.
I like that space. It was a good. We filled it quickly.
I like the character. Yeah, I thought this place is huge and but I think if we had somewhere 10 times the size we've got now, we would still fill that.
We would still fill it. Yeah.
It's incredible how you find things to put in spaces. So yeah, then we were up and running.
Yeah.
With the helmet first of all.
And if anyone wants to see this on the RPF or anything like that, and in fact, if you just go onto Google Images, there's some of the first shots of the helmet when we took it apart and we had our first pulls that we got right, or that we were happy with in any case. And we had like obviously the faceplate from the original with the backing cap from the one that we'd done, and the opposite way around. And
never shy. We were never shy with all the images of the original stuff, and we didn't need. Nothing was rushed.
No,
because we had all the time in the world with all the original pieces, so we could just take our time. It wasn't like when you hear the stories about I went in a display and molded it overnight with expanding foam in a glass cabinet, and all of them mad, unbelievable stories.
Oh, we
got such a good result.
We had to make a huge block mold.
We took our time. I mean, we probably made 2 or 3 molds before we got to the one where we were happy. Well, we certainly did with the HDPE stuff.
Well, certainly with the back and cap, because it was that the learning curve we were on with that of angles and stuff,
geometry and drafts.
Draft lines especially.
Very very interesting stuff to work out.
Because I mean there are other stormtroopers out there, but mine's one of probably it was a Sand Trooper, so it was one of the very first ones that was made by the studio and not by Shepperton. So it was a lot sharper than what certainly some of the others that are out there. So I was always concerned about that sort of the way the tube at the back, let's say, as it comes round, that we were getting that nice and tight, the same as my original. Because I had people saying to me, said, "Oh, you got to do certain things. You've got to make changes so you can do." You can update and do version 1, version 2, version 3 and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were never really into that.
No,
were we?
If someone appreciates the helmet, my helmet, and looks the photo, just okay, I wish I had one of them sort of thing. I want to be able to give them the same as what I've got.
Well, that's always been our ethos, isn't it? We wouldn't let somebody else have something that we wouldn't have ourselves. Which is ironic, really, because I don't have most of these pieces myself. Because we just don't. I think I prefer making it to owning it. Because when I was doing the Boba Fett stuff, I would have something, it would be a finished piece, and someone would say, Can you make me one of these and paint it and finish it and everything? And I'm like, well, I've got one that I did for myself there. I could send them that one and then I could replace it. So it'd just always be
Yeah, because you used to have that
In a state
photograph
of flux.
you in that your first vet costume.
Oh, no, that was like, I don't know, it's like 10th iteration or something.
When we first met and we first started doing this, you came from the costuming side and I came from the collector's side.
Yeah.
Because that to me was the thing to collect. I mean, I've gone beyond collecting. I'm a hoarder now. It's just ridiculous. I can't even get into my living room at the minute because there's that much bloody stuff in there.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, that's to me. It was always about the collecting, and there are occasions when I've got it all nice and tidy, I've sorted everything out. That I sit there and I'm just like, yes, I do.
I think
I can't believe I do it. You know, I still can't believe to this day after doing it for like 13 years that I'm doing this and I still enjoy it. It's like someone said to me the other day, he said, you've been doing this you've been painting helmets now for, do you know how many you've done? I have no clue how many I've done. I could possibly work it out and it'd be an average, but each helmet I do, you know, sometimes it's a bit frustrating because I can't get it right first time, even after like 13 years or whatever, but I still enjoy doing it. You know, it's not like when I've had other jobs in the past and you just go, oh God, I've got to get up and got to do that today. To me, it's always, yeah. Especially even though it's, you know, it's been bloody cold in here in this past couple of months and stuff like that. But
I think the point being now, we will only make something that we would be happy to have.
yeah.
And I'm super fussy.
Oh, I'm super fussy. I mean, that's one thing about this. There's no compromise from. It's like, that's one thing you've taught me from certainly looking at the accuracy side is because when we used to first like go through images and stuff like that we had found on the internet and stuff, you'd be like, oh no, just go straight to the movie, because that's what we're trying to achieve. So that's where
back to the source material.
Again.
Yeah, I think I learnt that very early on. Don't replicate somebody else's mistake.
Yeah.
So back to the source material. But I mean, beyond that, once we'd worked with your suit, I didn't ever want to do any fan-made stuff.
No.
I was not in. I think the problem. I've got two things that I like to achieve if I'm going to spend any time making something. One, do something new that's not available, because if I can buy something, I don't want to put in all the weeks and days and hours of research and effort to create the piece if I can buy it somewhere for a couple of £100 or whatever the price is. If it's available and it's proper and it's highly accurate and it's what I'm looking for. Tom Spina's
Tuscan, yeah.
Perfect example. You can make one for a fraction of the cost and it'll look good. But it won't be the creme de la creme.
Well, I mean, that's again, it's down to lineage as well, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
it's,
and that's what I'm looking for.
yeah,
and that's what I want to produce. That's what I want to make.
Yeah.
Because you'll put the effort in, you put the time in, because you love what you're doing. And that's what I want. That's all I'm interested in. This is never about, oh, we could make this and we could sell it for this amount, and you know, because all the business side of things is not even a consideration, is it?
No.
It's just like, hopefully it'll work.
Yeah.
So far they have.
Yeah.
Some have been a lot more riskier than others.
Yeah.
But so far, it's worked. And it's not a maths. I'm sure if we actually sat down with a business head on, with a spreadsheet, and we put all the numbers in, I'm sure that some of the stuff that we make subsidizes some of the other stuff that we make.
Oh, definitely.
But at the end of the day, viewers as a whole, what we make, the quality of it and the accuracy. That's what we're all about.
Accuracy and certainly sort of going back to when we were first developing the helmet, because we did we got the tools, we got it right, and then we got what we thought was the right material, which was styrene.
Oh my God, that styrene stuff.
And
I think that was listening to other people saying offer it in that, and that's because they wanted super bright, glossy,
and it was the only thing you could get.
And that's moving away from
the accuracy again.
Yeah,
because that's not what they were made from. And I can remember we set out to, I think at the time, make 50 and then offer them. And I think we did it.
Oh yeah,
I think we did it on like a pre-order.
That was
because and people are like going, but we just literally want to cover the cost.
So this is the first helmet.
This is the first helmet.
The first helmet run, and yeah, we built them in styrene. We made a whole bunch of them. They're all finished, and they were sat around in the studio. And just the way that they're put together, the Stormtrooper helmet, just the tension of them.
Yeah,
they were just breaking, weren't they?
Yeah, they were just cracking.
Yeah,
it's like, oh God, it's like what we're gonna do. And
start over.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what we did.
Start over again.
Yeah, but I mean the reception
Change the supplier,
as well.
Get a different material. Get the ABS. Find a different place that can supply the ABS that is up to the job. And that was the first. And that's how it's been ever since, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It's just this isn't good enough. Find a solution.
Yeah.
Got this problem. Find a solution. Got this problem. Everything's a problem. Every day there's a problem, and it's find a solution. Order some more TIE Pilot chest box, little original light. What are they even called?
They're actually illuminating.
Illuminating display or something.
Switches. It's a switch. It's a button basically. But the thing is, even with like stuff like that, they're now becoming rarities to get hold of stuff like that and little switches. These, I mean, for those that don't know, these little switches, little round switches, they're the same on the Rebel badge in ESB, and the same as the Command badges. But the square, obviously, on the Imperial uniforms. But those switches in themselves are going to, sometime, you're not going to be able to get them anymore because everything's down to like digital display now.
So there was, so we had a problem a couple of days ago where we go to our usual supplier when we run out of something, and no, we can't get it. I mean, look at the pinstripe for the TIE box as well.
Yeah.
Pinstripe, used to be able to get that everywhere, and now that's a problem. And that's just the day to day.
Yeah.
Here's another issue, sort this problem out. Here's another issue, sort this problem out. Crazy. We're diversing anyway. What were we talking about?
We were talking about that first.
Oh, the first helmet.
First helmet. I think we'd done 25 in styrene, and just sitting there, and then they were all nicely all laid out and everything, ready for having like lenses put in, and they were all built and everything. And then just seeing that, I don't know whether it was the heat from that summer or whatever. There was no heating in that room anyway. And then you're seeing that crack just appear. And just like,
same place as well.
In the same place on every one of them. But like you say, it's just another problem. We got past it and we that. But getting onto that first run and that was another thing I didn't anticipate with the community, the fact that the way that we did it and the way that we'd shown everything that we'd been able to achieve.
Well, we didn't have anything that we wanted to.
We had nothing to hide or anything like that.
We didn't need to.
We've got an original helmet. This is what we're doing. Blah, blah, blah. And
there it is. Here it is in bits. Here's the air off it. Here's all the screws. Here's what's going to the whole the hardware supplier.
Yeah.
Take them all the screws. What the hell are these? We didn't even know what they were. We know now.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they were at the time. Some little brass screws.
Brass screws. Yeah. Mm.
Turns out when you go in and they're like, oh no, it's old Imperial thread this. We're metric now. Can you get them? Oh, special order. Like, oh yeah.
Still got 'em.
Would be.
But yeah, it was, and then like I say, the thing that I didn't anticipate is how the community responded to, seeing it for the first time, and then all of them putting in orders for it and stuff like that, and that was just like, and I think we'd basically done 50 in half an hour. We didn't even have a website then or anything.
No,
we had nothing.
That was ridiculous.
It was just on the RPF. So thank you to the RPF for everything that, their support and everything.
Yeah, and all those people from that original run.
Yeah.
Because I think that then gave us confidence thinking, okay, we're set up now. We've got some studio space. We've got a few months that we know we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then that was when the team started to expand a bit, wasn't it?
Well, no. Before that, we had, I think we managed to do some plaster casts of. I think we did a chest, didn't we? And then we went to Wales Comic Con because Brian was there.
Oh yeah. Went and met Brian.
And went and met Brian for the first time. And we got on so well, and I was just gobsmacked to meet Brian and everything. He's a total fanboy. But I always am with Brian when he starts talking about going on about doing Vader and stuff like that. I just like sit there like that going,
and Superman,
and Superman, Alien, everything else he's done. Okay, so those that don't know, Brian Muir was the original sculptor of the Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah, Vader's daddy.
The Vader helmet, and pieces of C-3PO and stuff like that he worked on.
Yeah, I think he did all the C-3PO body, didn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
You better get this right now because you'll be seeing him in a few weeks and...
He'll have probably been...
He will have you. He will have you.
I know he will, yeah. There are pictures out there where you see George Lucas looking at...
But yeah, that was a big thing, wasn't it? Getting him to sort of give us his blessing on recreating the suit.
Well, yeah, I mean, because obviously he sculpted it, and when we took it that first chest, which we still have knocking around somewhere, I don't know where. We should have it on the wall in there, to be honest. And he was like, yeah, that's definitely, yeah. And I was just like, well, we know it is, but it's just nice to have.
Yeah, it was interesting talking about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the process that he went through.
And what was different between the A&H suit and all the other suits that were out there, because there was a clear difference that we were pretty unaware of. I mean, to be fair, we were not experts on stormtroopers. We didn't study stormtroopers. We didn't look at the other stormtroopers. All we did was try and recreate exactly what was in front of us.
Yeah.
We didn't need all the extra research. We had the real deal right in our hands, and it was just a case of making that correct, replicating exactly what was there. It was a full suit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, getting to know Brian, getting to sit down and talk with him and go through what he did on Star Wars. And obviously he didn't create the Stormtrooper helmet. That was done by Liz Moore. And she went off to do another film, didn't she? So Brian was sort of left.
I thought she went off to Holland with a boyfriend.
Oh, right. I thought she'd gone off to do another film.
She might have been. He might have been working on something.
I think he was possibly working on something as well. But that's another story. And then Brian then is left holding the baby, sort of thing.
Stepped up, took over the armour.
Yeah. And Yeah. So from there, it's like, so sitting and listening to Brian and all the
That's
stories.
the story.
Yeah.
This is available in Brian's book. What is it? The History of Stormtrooper. What's that book called?
There is that one. Yeah.
What's the book called? The Stormtrooper book. There is a Stormtrooper book. There'll be links in the bio or somewhere for that if you want to read a lot more about Brian's work on the Stormtrooper and the history of it and who else was involved.
It also has the pictures of me.
The real story of the Stormtrooper,
Yeah.
not the other interpretation, which
It also has my pictures in the back.
which is doubtful. Yeah, is there a picture of you in the book?
There's two pictures.
There's a picture of Simon in the book, so just buy it for that.
Those are the pictures we were talking about before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're in there.
They're in the back of the book. Yeah. And there's also, Brian has 2 other books out which basically cover his career and every film he's worked on, and the stories in there in themselves are, it gives you an insight into, what goes on behind the scenes.
So that was the start of a beautiful relationship with Brian.
Yeah.
Which has been going on for, well over 10 years.
Yeah.
And something that, to be fair, I think I'm going to be the first to admit has been neglected in the last 2 years because of other things, bigger issues we've had to deal with.
Yeah.
But it will be nice to catch up with Brian in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you check out our YouTube, there is a 2-part interview that we did with Brian. But maybe, just maybe, we could actually invite him to come and join us for a podcast sometime.
Why not?
Make a nice cup of tea, have a sit down, put your slippers on, and
Chew the fat. Yeah.
You can tell us some stories.
Yeah.
So there was a lot went on. We started building the team then, and I think from there it was just always production made's the way we want to go.
Yeah.
If we can get hold of something that's production made that's not available, then we're always keen to do that. So, I mean, the Scout followed, the Scout helmet.
Well, the first thing that we did was actually once we'd made the suit, because we did our first convention before we'd actually made the suit. Because I remember taking the original helmet and we took a few pieces. That was the first Burnley that we did.
Oh, yeah.
So many years ago. And then shortly after that, we were asked to do some stuff with Rock Radio.
Yeah.
And one of the DJs...
Well, we weren't asked, we wanted to... we were listening to it all the time in the studio.
Yeah.
And one of the DJs there was a big Star Wars fan and he was getting married.
Yeah.
And I said we should offer to take some stormtroopers just because we wanted to go up with a wedding.
Yeah.
Really. Because it wasn't a wedding. It was he was getting married kind of on air and they were doing a competition, weren't they? You could win a wedding and they did a double wedding and all of that. So they turned it into a bit of a media event. And I just thought we should go to that. That would be pretty cool. We listen to it all the time. Let's go down there.
Didn't even have any suits ready.
No, well, we still didn't on the morning of the wedding.
No, we were gluing them together. Gluing them together as
That's
we're...
insane.
I know.
The way, how long things take when you're first building them compared to when you've done it and you repetitively and you know exactly what you're doing and you know all the corners to cut. It's just crazy to think that we'd not left enough time to get 3 suits built.
Was it 3? Right.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
Mate, no, it was 2.
I think it was 2.
It was only 2.
It was one for you and one for, and there was 2 other guys that came from the Galactic Knights as well. So they had like an honor guard outside. It was Manchester Museum, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So and we're gluing them together in. What was it, Jabez Clegg?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the upstairs part of that.
I don't even know. I don't know if that place is still there, but Yeah.
on the
insane.
morning as, you know, people are coming in with like morning suits and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
oh God. Yeah.
Compared to how slick we are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's down to the team, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Having this team of people to pick up the pieces when somebody else can't do something, or somebody's off or ill or injured themselves with a massive crush injury.
Well,
You know, it's not the end of the world.
Bikes and stuff like that.
We can continue.
So one of the other things I want to mention is when we first started doing this again, with what we offered, and like you said before, it's never been done before, you know, and it's never, and everyone wanted an NH suit. That's what then gave us opportunities for things like, you know, the Pugman Blaster.
Yeah.
And we could do little trades here and there. So people would go, "Oh, I'd really want one of your suits. I've got an original this, you know."
Yeah.
Oh,
So the
that's what I
Pugman Blaster, that was that was quite early on, wasn't it? And that was exciting because painted in ESB trim, the
yeah.
Stormtrooper was like, even down to the blaster, it was super accurate.
Yeah.
With screen lineage stuff. And that was, I mean, coming from the RPF and TDH and that part
Fist
of
and all that,
part of
yeah.
the community that was focused and interested. I think I gravitated towards that anyway, because that's what I was interested. And that's because of the costuming. Because I didn't want to show up for somewhere and have people like looking at it, looking down the nose and thinking, look at that state of that Boba Fett, or the state of that Stormtrooper. That's fucking shite. I didn't want that, because I'd be in it and I'd be like wishing I wasn't there. But I'd be quite happy to turn up in a Stormtrooper with gaffer tape on and scratches on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does this not fit and that not fit? Because that's correct. That's how
yeah,
it is, and I'd
yeah.
much rather just tell the story.
Yeah.
But this is how it was, and you know, it's a movie prop and that. It's not idealized. It's not trying to be, because there's some people out there and they'd want fat armor made out of metal, because it's like it's armor, it's made of metal. Ding ding. I'm not interested in that. For some people, they are interested in that. That's fair play to them if that's what they want to do. But I just wanted it like the movies, because I mean I grew up loving movies. That was the other thing. I was really interested in the way movies were made and all the people that go into making a movie, and just movies every week. I would be watching movies. It's a shame that movies are on their ass now and everything's so shit. I hate stuff now.
You're old, so
And that, it's rubbish. There's no new ideas.
there's no new stories.
You can't get anything made.
Everything's on a handy camera, an iPhone, or a...
Well, it's either super lo-fi or it's mega blockbuster stuff.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground anymore. And I think they were all the movies that growing up I was watching. All the Brat Pack stuff and, you know, all of them.
You're older than me.
All of them kind of movies. That's what interested me. And now they don't get made anymore.
No.
And it's all computers and... But back then, movies were great. And that's what attracted me to it. You know, the whole thing. I mean, I'm totally into 80s and 90s sci-fi stuff. And modern stuff, if there's anything good.
Yeah.
And they're few and far between. There are a few here and there that work.
We're getting back to...
Yeah, get us back on topic.
Back onto the Stormtrooper.
Don't get me ranting about new movies.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's, you know, you've got to come at it with the mindset. Certainly when we were building the first ones and even building them now, it's like, because I've had people say to me, it's like, well, they may have done this or they may have done that. And I'm like, no, because they wouldn't have had the money in the budget to do that. It's like, right, we're going to botch this together. Which is, if you look at my original suit, there was a lot of botching going on in that.
Yeah, and it was just costume building techniques of the late 70s.
Yeah.
That's the way that they'd probably done other costumes for other, productions.
Yeah.
And they just thought, oh, when I did this, I use this technique. I can lend that to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there we go, guys. Thanks for listening or indeed watching. Do check us out. We're available wherever you find podcasts. Spotify, I believe Apple is still the biggest place to find a podcast, according to Andrew, but he is a little bit biased. So we've got plans to do some more interesting stuff coming up in the future. If you've got any ideas, do get in touch. And if you're just putting this podcast on to keep your dogs company while you're out, then that's fine. Again, get in touch. Let us know the name of your dogs, and we can give them a shout out. Get them, get them excited for a moment, thinking that someone's in the house. People do put podcasts on for dogs.
Is that so?
Yeah.
All right.
Come on, Georgie. Come on,
Jesus
Georgie.
Christ.
There we go. So we can offer that service as well. So get in touch, get involved, follow us on social media, and we are, I wouldn't say everywhere, but if you look in the right places, you can find us.
Dark places.
I've got no words. I've got no words for that.
I hope you've enjoyed the podcast anyway.
Yeah. Until the next time, I've been Robert.
And I've been Simon.
And we have been produced by the wonderful Mr. A. Clark, Esquire.
Can you be a Mr. and an Esquire?
I think so, yeah.
I thought it was just like I would be Andrew Clark Esquire.
I don't know.
Comment below.
Ask Siri.
No, Siri's a dick.
That's your usual go-to, isn't it?
Well, when you consider what I'm surrounded by, Siri is the best option for information.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm glad we agree on something.
Are you signing us off then?
Yeah, I just need to press this big red button and we're done.
Will we
Sweet.
Explode?
Fingers crossed. That would have been the perfect time.